is not Feelings Friday, but there is Dr. Chip Dodd with us today. What's up, Chip?
Hey, what's up, Dhati?
How
Good
are you
morning.
doing?
Feelings Thursday?
Feelings Thursday. Again, it got to start with a T, Chip.
Yeah.
So we
Uh,
talked about morning Mondays.
yeah.
Um,
What
you
is what
know,
is Thursday usually for you?
I
What is
don't
it?
know. I haven't come up with one. I'm not really that I'm not creative enough right now. I'm actually a mornings person. I'm not a night owl. I'm a mornings person, and I haven't come up with anything yet.
What time do you like get up? Do you like get up like at like 5 o'clock and
Yeah, I'm up
stuff,
at
or
5 in the morning, 6 in the morning at the latest. Like I'm
working
up.
out by 7? You got your workout in.
Yeah, it
Hey,
is.
hey, have you told the people that workout guy said you were like a medium? You were
Yeah,
like a passive.
yeah,
Like,
I'm just. No, they were there. They heard it, so
oh,
like I couldn't even hide it. Like he got on here and told me I suck in my workout. So it's kind of like, okay, thank you. That
and
makes
then
me feel
Angie's going like, Angie says, "I told you. I've been telling you."
yes. Yeah, no, no.
Oh,
She literally not like that's what she did. So
yes.
they said Stacy basically said, "What about Thoughtful Thursday?" Is
Oh,
that
I like Thoughtful Thursday. Oh, yeah, Thoughtful Thursday, where yeah, like, yeah. Well, if I ever do Thoughtful Thursdays, it's just the time to ponder, life or something.
yes?
Like, how am I going to live this thing? Thoughtful Thursday
All right.
for the future.
So Stacy, Thoughtful Thursday. We are here, Thoughtful Thursday, here with Dr. Chip Dodd, author of The Voice of the Heart, The Needs of the Heart, Keeping Heart. What other heart? Like Parenting with Heart?
Uh, Parenting with Heart, and then in September, Hope in the Age of Addiction,
Where's the
which is
heart?
going to be great.
No,
It's going to
you
be good.
Chip,
No heart in it, and then
you got to
Perfect
have heart.
Loss.
You have to have heart in there. Like go back to your
Uh,
publisher. You're the heart
Yeah,
expert.
we could do the heart to perfect loss.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then anthem to the invisible heart.
Yes, heart. Just
Hey,
throw heart at the end of
yeah.
everything, and then we would
Hey,
all be good.
have you listened to anthem to the invisible, an audiobook yet?
No,
The novel.
no.
If you ever get a chance, download that thing,
Okay.
and it's audio book. I think it's called audio book or something. It's anthem to the invisible
Now,
because it's a novel for now.
now, do you do the? Because I know Voice of the Heart. You actually are reading the book. Do you do all your
Yes.
own reading?
I do it if it's mine. If I own the book, I do it. But like Parenting with Heart, it was somebody else read it with the publisher, and then Hope in the Age of Addiction, somebody else is going to read it.
Well, I'm rereading the book Voice of the Heart right now, and I'm really grateful that it's you reading it. Like to hear
Yeah,
it from anyone else is just kind of I don't even know how I would like take it. So I'm
yeah.
glad that
I don't
you're
even
the
know.
one reading
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm glad I got to read it, just I have to face my voice, like in Anthem to the Invisible, the word, or I think maybe in Voice of the Heart or the Perfect Loss, the word naked. Oh, in Perfect Loss, naked, like I was naked and I was ashamed.
Hmm.
Adam. And they would stop me and say, "Hey, it's not naked, it's naked,"
Naked.
because it was so and so's naked. They said, that's what you redneck Southern boys, that's what y'all think, naked. When it's the Bible, it's naked.
Yes. So okay.
They had to
Well,
stop me over and over.
yeah, that's why they get experts to do that, but they gave you a
Yeah,
pass. So what's up
yeah.
to
I'm glad
everybody
you're doing this
on?
on Thoughtful Thursday. This is good time. Hey, Dhati.
Well, Chip, hold on, Chip. Chip, this
Yeah.
is my show. This is not your show. You about to go off and start stuff, Chip. Like I gotta say, what's up to the people out there?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
already
yeah.
jumping in. We're not about to jump in
Hey,
yet,
I'm
Chip.
telling you, it's like Donkey on Shrek. I'm telling you.
This,
It's like,
you about to
hey
jump
man, we're gonna
in.
sit up and tell manly stories in the morning. We're gonna make waffles.
Yes, like these are the non-paying customers. I mean, I'm not, but they're still the customers. So we gotta go to the people. So what's up,
Okay.
Jackie? Jackie Taylor is on here. Good morning. He said, "Good morning, fellas." You know Jackie, I
Hey
think
Jackie.
she is
Hey
on here.
Jackie.
Okay. Julius is on here. What's up, Julius? Aaron, what's up? Greece is on here. All the way from North Carolina is on here. Patsy, Patsy says that she actually is multitasking every day at 11 a.m. So she's like on two conference calls. She's listening to the Facebook Live, but at the same time, still working. So, that may be
Wow.
a segment one day. How to both listen to Facebook Live every day at 11, but still maintain your work hours. That is a great
That's great.
segment. That's a great segment for a show. Cindy Buckner, all the way from Denton, Texas. What's up? How are you doing?
Denton,
Jessica
Texas. You and I
Oglesby.
both know Denton, Texas.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So so Bianca's on here. Loretta, what's up? How's everyone doing? Oh, okay. Cindy says she's ready to choose joy today. She is ready to choose joy. Kevin Gwynn from Chicago is on here. And then, my beautiful, wonderful bride, Angie Lewis is on here. So, Chip, now we can jump in to talk about what you were like. Go. It's back to you, Chip. Tell us what you want to talk about, Chip.
Hey, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I just had a random thought I was going to throw out there. Hey, somebody said I'm going to choose joy.
Yes, they said today, ready to choose joy today.
Yes, yeah. How would you say to go about choosing joy today? I mean, that's
I think that's
tough one and very, very, very much ours to take.
And I think that's a very profound statement, and it's really around the subject matter that we're going to talk about a little bit today. Because, when we've been talking about, Feelings Friday, and today we're talking about Thoughtful Thursday, but we're talking about telling the truth about what's going on inside. We talk about confession, emotions. But Chip, there's been so long that we've been taught that feelings are bad. Feelings are bad. They're wrong. They're weak. They're sinful. All of these things, you hear all of this, the reality. But the Bible is very clear, on something that we are very clear about, like be angry but don't sin. So there's obviously a clear distinction between our feelings and what we do with our feelings that can lead us to sin. But the feelings themselves are not sin. But
No.
we have been taught that feelings are sin, that the feelings are sinful. And to be angry is sinful. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. It's just kind of like, how do we differentiate that? And I know that's been some of the questions that have been popping up with you as you've been talking about that. I know you probably ask that question all the time. So just open up a little bit about that around feelings and how they're equated to just weakness, sin, and those different practice habits.
Yeah. And we'll combine kind of stitch joy through this little tapestry this morning, maybe, Yeah. But, with the Philippians talks about, be anxious for nothing, knowing we're going to be. First Peter says, cast all of your anxieties upon him because he cares for you, which means you've got a place to take the pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, be anxious for nothing, because in your anxiousness, in Philippians, you got a place to go. He says, with prayer and thanksgiving, with prayer and petition, and with thanksgiving, with prayer and petition, offer up your needs, your desire, your longings, your hope, your pain, your wishes, your thoughts, your struggles, your difficulties, your doubts to God, and your gratitude. Offer it all up, which means that there's a human struggle going on. And the language of human struggle is that God has given us, literally, it's amazing. We have a set of teeth, a certain number of teeth. We have certain primary colors, 3 primary colors. We've got a certain number of musical notes, basic set of feelings. And I think God has gifted us with 8 feelings that allow us to live fully in a tragic place, and that living fully brings us joy. It brings us to joy.
Yeah.
And so to respond truthfully to life, like sometimes you're going to have losses which are sad, and if you care, you're going to have sad. When you're in need of talking to someone and seeing into somebody else's face, you're going to have loneliness. When you can't get enough God on this earth, you're lonely for God. When danger comes, you're going to feel fear and be in need. So those are feelings that aren't the absence of faith. They're feelings that allow us to cry out for someone, something to join us in this life. to comfort me in my sadness, to rescue me from danger, to connect with me in my loneliness, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out that we live in a tragic place, but God is faithful. And that's where the joy is, that we're not groundless. We have a foundation. We're not alone. We have a God who'll never leave us nor forsake us. We have an identity. We matter and belong because of what Christ has done. So if a person's good at facing life on life's terms, which means having feelings,
Yeah.
if you get good at the feelings, those feelings all make you reach out for relationship. And choosing joy really is knowing that in the midst of life's struggle, there is God,
No,
a God who cares.
and that's really the idea. But so how do we differentiate that? How do we overcome this statement? Because you talked about before, I heard you talk about like the Santa Claus songs, that feelings are bad.
Yeah.
Just like, how do there's been so many little things that have constantly brought us this, that no matter how much you talk about feelings, like even when people start confessing feelings, it's like, I'll do everything that I can to get away from the feelings. So like for me, instance, to give you an example, like on my screen, things are popping up. If someone texts me, if I don't hit the do not disturb on, there's text that pop up on the screen that everybody can see. So right now, like literally while you was talking, I quickly turned off the do not disturb, and everybody can see that. And then you know what's happening? Like 5 different people start texting me saying, hey, you can see you when you do that. But you see, the problem is that if I didn't do that, then all 5 of those would have came up and said, hey, you can see that. And then everybody would have been, that would bring even more fear, more shame, all of those things that are, here go, I messed up again. So anyway, but I'm okay with confessing that. But that's been years of just being okay with feelings and getting over the myths about feelings of bad, weakness, sin. So how do you help others to embrace feelings as just a tool that we can use to better tell us where we are?
You brought up that Santa Claus song. I mean, let's think of like the world teaches one thing and God teaches another. Okay. And our experiences in the world become more powerful because we can see the impact in the world more quickly than we can see the God who is, invisible. So the world is powerful. Like what the world thinks of me becomes what I should be like. Like that great example you just gave, man. When all these people see these texts coming up and you're not getting it right, you're like, oh, they're going to think and you start this list.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the world teaches us, whether it's parents, coaches, principals, authorities, I mean, go down the list. They teach us shoulds and shame. And that Santa Claus song, man, that thing is powerful because we sing it like it's a good thing. We sing it like it's a happy thing. But it says, you better watch out. You better not pout. You better not cry. And I'm going to explain things to you right now. You need to sit down and pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, I'm going to explain it to you because you can't have these feelings and you can't express yourself because Santa Claus is coming. The gift giver is coming.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say he's making a list and he's checking it twice. In other words, he's keeping a tally on your mistakes and he knows who's been naughty or nice, just kind of throw in nice. Nice is expected, naughty I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on to be even more threatening. It says he knows when you're awake. He knows when you're asleep, which means he's watching to come through walls and stare at you. Mm-hmm. And he do anything he wants to you. Like, that's terror. Mm-hmm. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you're asleep. He knows if you've been bad or good, bad or good. So for the sake of God, be good. I mean, that's threat. And it says if you act right and do what we tell you, then things are going to turn out for you that are well. But God says, unless you tell me the truth and tell me what's going on with you, I can't even be close to you.
Yeah.
So the 2 different messages. And, when you said that, Dhati, when you said, look, man, sometimes I'm like, these texts are coming through and I can't even keep up with it. You know me, like you and I already started about 5 minutes before this started, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said, man, there's some kind of update on the screen. Can you see it, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I push a button and I'm gone again.
Yep.
And finally, I make my way back on, and you're going like this. You're kind of like
Yeah.
it's what you do. And Jessica even comes on, and this is sad. I hate to admit it. I'm scared to admit it because, like, dude, it's like this cat is just not very smart.
Yeah.
You know me.
No.
But when you tell me the truth about you, I'm going like, I'm safe with you, and I can admit the same things with you.
And I think that's critical.
Critical.
How? So, like, what have been some of the questions you talked about last night? You was on with your church, and what have been some of the explicit questions that have come up to you around this subject matter?
Yeah, it's like the one is a lot of Christians that other Christians are around. A lot of Christians don't feel safe expressing their doubts and fears with other Christians because of what you just talked about. A lot of Christians are actually following Santa Claus rules instead of what the Bible has given us permission to do. For us to be good at being human, so us to acknowledge that God is good at being God.
Yeah.
And if we're good, see, all of our feelings bring us to needs. All of them, even joy. Joy is something we hunger to share.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a possession. It's actually something we want to express and celebrate. So every feeling is about bringing us into relationship. And a lot of Christians and the world itself, they block feelings because if I have doubt, then they get mad or they get threatened and they start spewing, God said, don't be afraid. God said, don't be anxious.
Isn't that, so Chip, you're telling me in order to have relationships that I have to have both feelings and neediness. Those are two things that I'm going to run from, and specifically around relationships. So that's why I would rather just shut my heart off and be apathetic, to the loneliness that I'm crying out for a relationship. I'd rather just turn it off because I don't want to have either feelings because feelings are bad. And I definitely don't want to be needy because I know what needy people, and I hate when people are needy on me. So if I don't want to have feelings and I don't want to have needs, and I have to have those two in order to get relationships, this is why so many of us can relate to apathy and just trying to turn off our hearts in terms of feeling because we don't want to deal with the hurt of our loneliness.
Yeah, and the hurt of more rejection and the hurt of more shame. But see, neediness is not demand. Neediness is not trying to run from myself. Neediness is admitting that I'm created by God to be joined with others for us to do together what we cannot do apart. Right. I mean, it's literally, it's like the world has hurt us enough, so to speak. Let's just call it the world, but the authorities and powers, principalities and powers around us have threatened us. In fact, you know what? The word persecuted in Scripture in the New Testament, the Beatitudes, means to be pursued and chased down in a way to demand that you quit having heart. Mm-hmm. The word persecuted means to be pursued, so you'll give your heart up. And you'll quit caring and you'll be apathetic. You'll stop protesting. But listen, if we can't have feelings, then we can't even protest injustice. Mm-hmm. If we can't have feelings, we can't grieve great people in our lives who are gone.
Yeah. But in that, I get that. And I'm 100% with you. But like, for instance, Bianca on here says this, I just don't like feeling all the feelings. Sadness sucks. I can admit I'm working on not suppressing it in my own head. I mean, like, if you think about it, sadness sucks. So it's just kind of like, I get it, and we understand that we need them in feelings, but it's just kind of like.
Okay, you know what? Here it is. See, it's a testimony. Us not liking the feelings is a testimony. I don't like them. I, much of the time, wish I didn't have them. I would love to be Superman. I would love to be like above them. I would love to be like these actors and fakers and pretenders that say, if you buy this from me, you'll have the answer to everything, which means you'll never have to feel these things. So I'm with her. I don't like them. I wish I didn't have them. They're painful. They hurt. Heck, man, even joy hurts because joy opens a doorway to peek into heaven. And then all of a sudden, tomorrow's coming and the door's going to be closed on me again. Like, dang, man, it's like, I mean,
and I love what you said. You talked about that before, and that is the reason why people not even wanting to feel the hurt and the loneliness and the pain of joy and the sadness of joy. That's why many times addiction takes place, is because they're trying to crystallize that moment and they never want to go back to sadness.
Absolutely.
And so this is why we're such an addicted society.
And we literally, Dhati, I believe this with all my heart. I mean, I know people can disagree with this, but I think we're created for heaven. I think we're created. I mean, Ecclesiastes says we're created. We have eternity in our hearts, which means we look around us and we see impermanence, transience, unpredictability. We call it the unknown. We're going like, man, this is like this. I didn't bargain on this. I wasn't banking for this. I'm looking for something else.
Yeah.
And that's where the faith thing comes in. That, see, we've been trained that feelings are bad, and therefore, because we spend our lives trying to get away from them, we wind up in places we don't want to be.
Yeah.
Isolated, addicted, depressed, anxious, and so on. But if we just acknowledge that feelings are reality, I mean, they're actually tools that God gave us to stay joined to each other and Him as we move towards where we're made to go, which is heaven. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, the new name that Jacob got in the book of Genesis, his new name, he moved from being deceiver Jacob to, he got a new name called Israel, which means strong, which means to struggle with God and live, which means fully in relationship. Man, I tell you what, if I'm hurting and life catches up with me, so to speak, and I admit I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm lonely, or I'm joyful, I'm literally created like a child to be able to take that somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm made to take it somewhere.
And you're meant to take it somewhere. And when you don't, and you don't have a place to take it, that's what goes back to that loneliness. Loneliness feeling.
Yeah, I put out a podcast called, the APGAR, I talked about, that when a child is born, whether we like it or not, we cry out, reach out, and take in. I mean, that's.
When you say you put out, where do you put it out? This is a little plug for you, Chip. Where do you put?
Oh, yeah. I'm pushing that novel and audiobook too. It's like nobody else has read it. ChipDodd.com, and the podcast came out Monday.
Okay, good. Let's talk to see some of the people what they're saying. Jeff Thompson said, please save this afterwards. Chip Dodd speaks that fire. And I need to listen to each point about 5 times because they are so deep. Yeah, Jeff, it is. And I would just recommend, so that he doesn't have to plug his own book, that The Voice of the Heart is a great book that you can get it live, audio, or you can get it just ebook, or you can get a hard copy of it. So that is a great book. The Voice of the Heart, The Needs of the Heart are ways to kind of unpack each one of these. Cindy Metcalf says this: suppressing begins to dumb me down and not make me present, then I lack life.
Amen. That is so beautifully said.
Yeah.
Suppressing the feelings takes me to the sidelines. It really does. And then before I know it, I'm in the stands, and before I know it, I've left the stadium.
Yeah. That's good. Angie said, I avoid feelings for sure. When I express them, ultimately, I grow closer to others, to myself, and to God. You know what I think about that, the statement that Angie just said, is that we all know that when we tell the truth about what's going on inside, we all know that we grow closer to others and God when we're honest, but it hurts so much. What makes us continue to not go to that understanding that when we do it, when we are vulnerable, that it brings healing? But when we're not, it leaves us in isolation. But for some reason, we seem to choose isolation more than we choose relationship, even though we're lonely.
Yeah, it's amazingly powerful. We are, the world is very powerful. Honestly, I hate to say it like that, but I mean, people talk about there's you say, well, if I share this, I don't know what's going to happen. Fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I have talked before that there's no such thing as fear of the unknown. There's actually a fear of recurrence. And I believe that from an early age, we started rejecting because of the pressure and the power of oppression and suppression, that we started rejecting our hearts at a young age because the faces we looked into were saying this, take that somewhere else. And so when we start feeling, we automatically, it comes up with the memories of past rejections and past wounds. Because in the brain, Dhati, the feelings and long-term memories are literally live in the same place in the brain.
No, that's really
So,
that's I think that's a really good point that you make. And Chip, let me just say, stop hitting your computer because you're hitting your microphone or something is causing stuff. So don't remember, Chip. Our rule is don't touch something, don't touch anything. Just talk, Chip. Just talk. You start.
I wish that people could have seen. Basically, that was a minor scene compared to the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, Chip, hey, listen, just be still. Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Just talk, Chip. All right. So Loretta says this. Yes, if we don't embrace having needs from others, then we fall into only being present and active where we get to play the hero. It's pride disguised. We have to be able to let our people bear our burdens too, because it's godly to be willing to receive as well as give.
Amen. And you know what? Unless we receive, we can't give. We've got to be humble enough and strong enough to receive. Because I'm telling you, I really believe the more we have, the more we can give. And you can't get what we're talking about that people need without humility. It's not like it's a gold mine. You dig it up and you make the gold come out of the ground. Our receiving, what we get, it literally comes from relationship with others and God. And that starts with neediness too.
So a lot of people are commenting on that, like the idea. And the reason why I was even saying feelings and needs is that there's a pride in us that we don't want to have to need. We don't want to talk a little bit about how pride and toxic shame keeps us from feeling.
Yeah. When honestly it happens when we're little that when a person has feelings, if they don't know their memories of where they lost their feelings, but so to speak, when a person has feelings, the past starts to come with it. And the past is all about watch out. You know what's going to happen. It's threatening. Mm-hmm. But whenever we're growing up and you do what God created you to do, you cry out, you reach out, and you to take in so you can grow. Yeah. If you start getting, when you cry out and you start getting told that there's something wrong with that, you shouldn't, you should this, you shouldn't that. When your feelings become should oriented, and when you have feelings and people turn away or they look at you with the opposite of what you need, then because we're so made for relationship, we start to tell ourselves, ooh, if I keep being who God made me, I'm going to get abandoned. I'm going to get rejected. Things don't turn out well. So I got to start performing instead of being present. I got to start working hard instead of working towards. I got to work hard to earn my keep instead of working towards living fully. And so shame, toxic shame. And toxic shame, Dhati, means that I have contempt towards myself for being human, which leads me to say I should be more than human. Mm-hmm. And then we become prideful. The pride is success in not being human. And then also pride is I'll do whatever it takes for you never to defeat me and me show that I'm human. Yeah. So pride makes us the enemy of everyone around me, and it even makes me the enemy of myself and the enemy of God. Because God created us as children who were made to grow up, not as children who were made to get rid of themselves. I mean, honestly, Dhati, I mean this, like Jesus never had to repent because he never left home. Yeah. And what I mean by that is he was always the son of the Father.
Yeah.
And in the Garden of Gethsemane, I mean, he was in agony, in need of his daddy. And he was saying, Daddy, he wasn't ashamed I mean, he's God, Jesus, he's a son, and he's not ashamed. He's saying, Daddy, I don't want to do this. Is there some way that we can find a way around this? Like, I got my friends, I don't want to leave them. I know that I'm being pursued by darkness. I'm scared to death. The wolves are coming, and I'm a lamb. Save me from this.
Yeah.
And then God said, he said, if your will be done, though, because I got no other place to go but you, Daddy.
Yeah.
And then the Father said, we got to do it. And Jesus said, okay. Because, so that's how we're made.
And what's interesting, because I'm reading some of the chats in the comments. There's a lot of people chatting here. Thank you guys for chatting, because this is really helpful for us.
It is.
But as I'm looking at the chats, I'm seeing this constant theme that is kind of different from, and it seems like this is how we're oriented. The statement is the fear of rejection is real. It said basically being isolated is easier than being rejected. And then someone else says, I rather avoid showing up because I don't want to be rejected. So there's a great fear of rejection. And so they said, like, I would rather self-isolate myself so I don't get rejected.
Yes. And the problem is though, I mean, number one, it's like, if you keep finding yourself rejected over and over, you're continuing to repeat your trauma, honestly. But the fear of rejection, Dhati, is the number one. I'm not hitting my computer anymore, am I?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm being good. Hey, the fear of rejection is the number one fear of a human being. Ultimately, it's the baby's fear. It's the adult's fear. It's the pro athlete's fear. It's the husband-wife fear. It's the child fear. And in a child, the fear of rejection is primary, not the fear of death. They don't know what death is, but they know what not being belonging is. So, but here's the deal, the problem. Even though I hate being rejected, I got no place to go. There's no such place as away from being human. The cost that I pay to not stay joined is that because I'm created for connection, I have to have it. So either we connect as God created us, or we find a way to connect that's counterfeit. It's relief seeking. And I'm telling you, whiskey works because whiskey feels just like a relationship. It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel happy. It makes me have ideas of what I'm going to do in the future. Then it starts to make me like justified in being mad at people, bitter. And then it justifies me in doing self-pity, like nobody cares. And then it makes me just kind of like strong, like I don't give up. I don't have to care about anybody. I don't need anybody. So it deludes us by giving us a sense that we're in relationship. I mean, the bottle becomes a person. Pornography becomes a relationship. Work can become a way to stay away from being in need. I mean, anything that's not relationship with others and God, there's the potential to become an idol or an addict.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though I hate rejection, man, get with people who do feelings. Get with people who, even though your pride or your shame will try to prevent you from doing it. But I agree. I agree. I wish that there was a place to go where I didn't have to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you? I mean, just like
this is really good. And as always, we're always running out of time. But again, I would ask you guys is reread The Voice of the Heart. I mean, because Chip, you did a really good job on just letting people know that feelings are not a bad thing. They're tools that God has given us to help us to live to hold on to God's faithfulness in a tragic world by us telling the truth about what's going on inside, so that we can stop believing the Santa Claus songs that we've been all taught and brought, that even there was a fear of rejection that was imprinted in us at the very beginning, that if we don't act right, do right, that we won't receive the gifts, that God has given us. But the only way to really receive the gifts is that if we tell the truth about what's going on inside of us, embrace the tools that God has given us, and overcome and live life with anger by overcoming the fear of rejection that each and every one of us have, because as Chip talked about, is a primary fear, and I think another thing that we just talked about is the idea of shame, right? Like, not allowing our shame to become toxic, because whenever shame becomes toxic, you begin to look outwardly and you repeat the same sin that the first Adam had. It's the woman you gave me. It's the society you gave me. It's, we begin to look outwardly at what's wrong, at the problem, instead of being able to look from within and being able to tell the truth. So I just really want to encourage you guys, here, what we're doing each and every, whether it be Thoughtful Thursday or Feelings Friday, what we want to do is that we are trying to give you guys a baseline, not so that you can make life easier, but so that you can live life truthfully, right? And live life in a way and how you've been made. And so I'm always grateful each and every week with Dr. Chip Dodd, who lays down these nuggets and these wisdom with us, but again, don't just leave it to these times. Read your Bible. Go get the book, Voice of the Heart, Needs of the Heart, and keep coming back. Because regardless of what topic we're talking about, we're always going to talk about how it impacts us on a heart level. And so my prayer for everyone each and every week is that we would be more equipped to shepherd one another by being real with one another and telling the truth with one another and not trying to fix one another. There's a complete difference between accountability and fixing. And so we're just always excited about it. So Chip, what are any final words that you have as we close out today?
I just love your summaries. I had texted you before, man. Your summaries are just gold. But you said it like our responsibility. Our ability is to become portable sanctuaries. We become a place that people can go to because we know what it's like to be them. Not rejection, because gosh, man, I'm doing human and I'm in need of God. So yeah, I get what you mean by hurt. I get what you mean by sad. And no, I don't support you and staying bound up. No, I don't support you in going out there and harming yourself. It's like, I can't stop you, but I want you to join me. So, by doing the thing we hate and by going against the shame that says we're weak, we actually become strong.
Amen. That's really
Amen.
Good. That's a really good word. So again, we love you, Blueprint. If you, I wanted to remind everyone, support My Brother's Keepers initiative this coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, COVID-19 testing here in the 4th Ward. Support that. You can go to My Brother's Keeper. We'll put the link in the memo so that you guys can go there. Again, another great day with Chip Dodd. If you need prayer, remember, blueprintchurch.org/prayer. Also, if you want to give, blueprintchurch.org/give. And if you've been adversely affected, finance at blueprintchurch.org. We love you guys. Until tomorrow. Tomorrow's Feelings Friday, so you'll get more of this, more feelings. You won't have Chip. I'm sorry, you only get me tomorrow. That's my shameful comment for today. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys.
My shameful comment is people going, thank God.
No. So we're going to see who can outshame ourselves. But we really appreciate you guys. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Thanks, Chip, once again.
God bless you, Dhati. Talk to you later.
See you.
Bye.